So we back with another one, right? Listen, I feel like a lot of people feel like this, but don't want to say it because they don't want to come off the wrong way to people. But a lot of people feel like this video. This video here is titled, Why More Americans Are Going Child Free. Let's check it out.
We got married fairly young, and we both just decided for many reasons we didn't want kids. And then at some point we heard the acronym DINK, and I think just really fell in love with it.
There are more Americans that are deciding not to have children, and it's purposeful.
This new trend has led to the rise of a new type of
DINK? What is DINK? DINK? I feel like I'm scared to type that in on my phone. Like something else may come up. I'm gonna wait till they say it.
household, more commonly referred to as DINKs. Dual income, no kids.
Oh yeah, dual income, no kids. That's perfect for us. That's absolutely right.
Children are the death of net worth. Pretty crude, but honestly very true.
What?
This household configuration of dual income partners living alone without children is on the rise. In 2022, it was around 43% of households, and that's about a 7% increase from a decade previously.
In 2022, 43% of Americans surveyed said they'd want to get married, but just a little more than a quarter said they were sure about wanting children.
The term DINK is becoming more...
Coming from someone who has two. I have 2 kids. They are expensive. Expensive. Very, very, from the moment they're born, they're expensive. Love them to death. Wouldn't trade them for the world. But we're going to be honest. They are expensive. So I can't knock anyone for saying, I ain't trying to do this, man. You know what I mean? That makes it very, very hard.
Prominent now because of financial challenges, and they see children as just another financial challenge that maybe they don't want to take on.
So what's it like to live with a dual income and no children? And will it be the future of American households? According to a 2023 survey of DINKs, finance played a major role in their decision to not have children. More than a quarter of respondents said they simply aren't able to financially support a child at the moment.
When we advise clients about having children, we honestly don't even give them the full real details and the real numbers. It's one of those things, if you actually see the math of it all, it might make you decide to not have children.
It costs a family an estimated $310,605 to raise a child born in 2015 to age 18. Adjusted for higher future inflation. And that doesn't even include the cost of college.
And you don't get no return. You may not get no return on your investment. That's the sad truth about it. You might not get nothing back on that 300 and some change that you put out there. So that's just basically if you live in a townhome, go to your upstairs window, run up there, open the window, and just start throwing money out the window. That's what you do. I'm just playing.
So if you look at inflation within the child care market, it surpasses general overall inflation within the economy.
Some couples are contemplating having children at the same time that they're still paying off student loans that they incurred when they were 18 to 22 years old.
One of my very closest friends, she's been struggling with the reality that the take-home pay she makes is about equal to what childcare would be. That's a really hard position to be in. Seeing our friends really struggle with that balancing act has, I think, made me appreciate the flexibility that we have financially because we don't have children.
Besides saving on childcare, DINKs can also fully reap the benefits of combining their finances.
Yep.
To look at both of our incomes coming in and see how we're able to handle all of that because we don't have extra finances with a child. It's much more comfortable. We get to focus more on the things that we want to do and saving a lot of that money for the future and worry less about the day-to-day finances of the house and our bills.
Money isn't the only expense that DINKs can save on.
The free time is actually one of the biggest things for me. So we built me a little office slash bedroom out here. We definitely have some more expensive hobbies. I build mechanical keyboards, like computer keyboards, in my spare time, and just parts and stuff for that can be very expensive.
Not having children has given us the freedom to pursue other things, remodeling our home. I'm a beekeeper.
I'm really handy and I like doing stuff around the house. I wouldn't have the time to just do that after work if I feel like it, if I had, a child to care for.
Look at some of y'all, like, I can't see y'all faces, but I can see y'all faces. And some of y'all are kind of giving your kids the side eye right now, thinking to yourself, what all you could have gotten done without kids? You're so wrong for that. You're wrong for that, bro. You're wrong for that. But you can't help but think, you know what I mean? It's true. It's honest. It's honest. You have to be honest. When you had a kid, that's a whole different level. And what he said, childcare. Oh my God. Am I wrong? Isn't that like another, like, it's like paying rent somewhere. That's what childcare is like. $500-$600 a month. That's like somebody's rent. Yeah.
Fewer expenses leave dinks with more disposable income to play with.
Disposable income is power, it's stability, and for many couples, it's security.
The security that having 6 months of income saved for emergencies gives you, that security was so helpful to us during COVID when I was out of work for 6 months.
Have like a smaller tractor style. Next year we're gonna get a zero.
We have more tolerance for chaos, I think, because of our savings. Our new savings goal, which is like our shoot for the stars and hit the moon kind of, is saving $4,000 a month.
According to census data, dinks can save 9% more for retirement each year compared to dual income couples with children. Another 2021 study found that childless adults aged 55 and older had a personal median net worth of $153,900, compared to $130,400 for biological parents.
If you have $1 and if you have to choose how to use it, a dink can prioritize savings, retirements, investments, both in the equities market as well as things like real estate or second properties.
The hardest part of investing is just having the cash to do it. And so when you don't have your cash going to expenses that are related to children, that cash can go into those investment goals.
We started investing in our early 20s. I feel really safe because we have this strong nest egg of ETFs that are accessible and fairly liquid. And then we also have our long-term savings, which are, tied up in IRAs. We can choose what our aging years look like because we've saved to plan for that eventuality.
It is well documented that the younger you are when you start your savings and your retirement portfolio, the better off you are in the long run in terms of aggregate savings and your ability to accrue savings and wealth.
Just take the $310,605 it would take for a middle-income married family to raise a child. While child expenses can vary significantly by age and location, that could easily represent more than $15,000 in otherwise investable funds per year. Consider the power of annually compounding interest, and that $15,000 per year can grow to more than $500,000 in just 18 years, assuming 7% annual returns. This nest egg could also help dinks secure more assets for themselves.
Dual earner adults living together who both have jobs and have been saving are really able to put a heftier, relatively large down payment on a home, which then reduces their monthly mortgage and has all of these other benefits. You're paying less interest over the long run.
I was fortunate enough to have a good little nest egg gifted to me by my grandparents, and that helped us buy our first house. But then from there, living in that house, living in a place with a lower cost of living like Utah, having dual income helped us build all this savings so that when we sold that home and moved to Massachusetts, we had an even larger nest egg that allowed us to buy a more expensive home in a higher cost of living area. I'm not totally sure where we would be if we had a child as well.
That extends.
Now we can't keep harking on the ones that have kids, myself included, right? Because one thing they don't tell you is when you first have a kid, and you hold that kid and you look in his eyes, like, it gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a drive. And when you know you have that family at home, I can't speak for nobody else, but for me, that made me kick it in gear. That made me focus. That made me go extremely harder than I think I've ever went hard before, making sure that they were secure. I was able to provide. I was able to do different things. Because of that family, it gave me that drive. It made me grow up. It made me mature. So let's not act like kids don't do that. They look up to you and they say those first words and they say, mama, dada. Man, I don't know about y'all, but that just turned me into like beast mode.
Beyond just purchasing a home, there are lots of big item, big ticket investments that we tend to make earlier on in adulthood. To the extent that we can pay as much of it as possible up front, that does have a rippling benefit for us as we age.
But the rise of dinks isn't such great news for the economy as a whole. Historically, lower birth rates have been associated with slower economic growth, and critical social programs such as Social Security depend heavily on population growth.
We shouldn't strive to have a generation of young adults that are not reproducing. That would not be healthy for society. It wouldn't be healthy for the economy. It wouldn't be healthy for us as we age. So there are a lot of reasons why we do want to take investments in the next generation seriously.
For dinks, the biggest challenges are often not financial.
And I think we freaked a lot of people out when we were just a young married couple, and that was all. There was no baby afterwards. I had family members asking if something was wrong because it's been 5 years of a young, healthy couple not producing a child.
I think
Don't let that bother you, sweetheart. Those will be the same family members that come back and ask you for money because they see you doing well and you're not worried when things go bad and the economy falls off and different things. Those will be the same ones that ask you for money.
that there is a self-care aspect that is minimized when you're a dink. So there are many mom groups or, daddy-daughter dances. There aren't groups for, hey, I'm a professional woman and I just want to go home and read a book and take care of myself tonight.
I think on the other side of that, there can be times where in certain circumstances and circles, it's harder to make friends.
There is also the potential for more
True.
financial responsibility from other family members.
There could be additional pressure as dinks get older for people within their family to assume that they can take care of certain obligations. For example, if you have an aging parent, dinks might be the ones that are relied upon because it's presumed you have disposable income or you have disposable time to take on these responsibilities.
Yeah.
According to experts, the number one advice for dinks is to prioritize savings and figure out clear goals for the future.
If anybody is considering becoming a dink, as a financial planner, I highly recommend that strategy. I recommend it to my clients. When my clients tell me that's an intentional choice they're going to make, I am a big fan of it.
With that disposable income, make a budget. How do you want to spend it? Make sure you put aside some money for fun, but also make sure you put aside some money for investments, and they can be traditional or non-traditional investments, and then revisit it annually to make sure it still makes sense.
I think if you're considering not having children in your life, make sure your partner's on the same page as you and that you have confidence in that value in isolation without your partner too.
Yeah. Don't
And technically they
go into the dink life.
And technically they do have a child. They have a dog. Dogs aren't cheap. Like, dogs aren't cheap between vet bills, between food, between different things. Like, you know what I mean? That's almost, maybe not be like that, But depending on what type of diet you have your dog on, I know mine, raw food, different things, that stuff can be expensive too. It's just like a child.
Lifestyle, just like, oh, I don't have kids, so I just have more money and can do whatever. It still takes the work of like planning for your future, putting money away. If you're not gonna have kids, make sure you still save money for your future, because the world is a weird place right now, and who knows what it's gonna be like in another 30, 40 years when we go to retire.
This jagged sheet of rock is hanging 200 feet above a walking trail next to the Niagara River. It's already loose, and if it falls, it could mean serious injury to hikers on the path below. That's where the rope access team comes in. If they do their job just right, most of Niagara Falls' 9 million yearly visitors will never even know they were here.
Wow. Did y'all know they do this?
Jump of the day.
Am I scared? Yeah. Am I scared? I have a healthy respect. That's all.
This cliff is located at Devil's Hole State Park, roughly 4 miles north of Niagara Falls. Team members like Andy and Christian will scale the cliff and maintain the crew's gear. Later, Jake will clear dislodged rocks from the trail.
If those rocks were to fall naturally, there's nothing stopping them from coming and just plowing through somebody that's on the trail. So very necessary work what we do here, and you can see here all the rocks that come down. They are pretty sizable and they could cause some damage.
It's a dangerous job. Dehydration, injury, and inclement weather are just some of the risks. Thunderstorms are forecast today, so the team is on high alert for signs of lightning, which would endanger the crew.
We won't work in lightning, that's about it. We're gonna have fun. You know, usually when we show this to people, they say they didn't even know this existed.
Exactly.
There are 12 members of today's crew, 4 supervisors including Andy, and 8 technicians. Today their goal is to clear this entire section of the cliff. Their day begins at 7 a.m. at the maintenance shop, where the team packs a variety of gear into vehicles to take it to the access point above the trail.
See, the fun thing about this is that I don't actually jump with them every day. So today will be one of the days I jump with them, which is good because I've been wanting to do this for a while. These are the guys who do it every single day, and they're really, really good at it.
After a short 10-minute drive, the team arrives at the access point and begins gearing up.
I guess we can start with the piece de resistance. This is our climbing harness. It's a class 3 harness, and it's called that because of the shoulder straps.
The shoulder straps prevent climbers from slipping out of the harness if they accidentally turn upside down, and the seat balances their body weight so that blood flow to their legs isn't restricted. Comfort is also of the utmost importance, as climbers can be suspended for more than 2 hours at a time.
This device here is our bar rack. This is what we use to rappel. It's a pretty old school device. We have a lot of mud and grit, and when the ropes get wet, they swell, so there's not a lot of moving parts. It's all friction. So that's our descent device.
All right. Pretty much all ready to go here. No one cares about me. Everyone says, Andy, just take care of yourself. So what they're talking about is some guys have a rope handler watching their line, and then some of us are on what we call an ASAP, which is this. This is your backup device, and so I'm just fully in control of all of my descent. So I can actually step over the edge now.
First jump of the day.
Am I scared? Yeah. Am I scared?
Bro, we didn't do it much, but when I was in the fire service, I used to love to like rappel down. You know, I just thought I was something like some type of movie doing a heist or something. I love to rappel down.
Scared. I have a healthy respect. That's all. The crew's really close. You know, we joke around a lot, but when it is time to actually go over the edge and do work, you know, we kind of call that game time, because it is. You know, you need to take it seriously because there's a lot of risks involved. This program that we're part of has been going on since about the 1930s, and about the whole time they've been using pike poles. There's a lot of utility with this. This is made out of solid fiberglass here, So if it gets into the cliff, this can flex a lot. You can use this to position yourself on the wall, and then you can use this to, gently remove debris. You can grab stuff with the hook, gently pull it out. It can fit into cracks, and then you can get leverage that way.
One of the things that makes removing these rocks especially challenging is that these cliffs undergo something called differential erosion, which means that areas of the cliff erode at different rates. Layers of shale rock located lower on the cliffside wear away more quickly than the layer of dolomite rock at the top. That leaves large, unstable chunks of rock, sometimes the size of an SUV, hanging at the cliff's edge. The crew uses a
these dudes are like guardian angels now, man. I look at them like guardian angels.
Controlled swing to gain access to material beneath overhangs. To do this, they push themselves away from the wall with their feet to maintain that controlled movement.
These are softball shin pads, and they work really, really well for what we do. You try not to knee the wall, but sometimes for stability purposes, you can't really help it. We all try to wear steel toe or some sort of composite toe. Rocks are hard. You can't always dodge a rock when you're moving, so, having something like that to keep yourself safe is 100% necessary. So all the rocks they're knocking down are essentially coming right to the trail and then some, and they're going right to the Niagara River, which we have right here below us.
It's 10 a.m. The crew is only about 2/3 of the way through their climb when the one thing they're worried about happens: a storm.
Copy. Looks like we might have a wall of rain. Yeah, I'm gonna head back. Let's head back.
The crew hears thunder and spots lightning as they are on the cliffside. They need to stop working immediately. That will end their progress for today.
So today we actually had to cut it short. We have metal pike poles in our hand. We got a lot of metal gear on us, so we just try to get out of there as quickly as we could. Anything that's going to pose a hazard to the employees, then we just stop.
The crew had only been working on the 200-foot cliffside for less than an hour when the storm began. On a typical day, it could take the crew up to 3 hours to clear a whole section. When they're able to resume, they'll finish removing rocks from the lower section of the cliff and then stabilize the slope side with wire meshing.
This is the primary part of our work here, that we're going to try and clear this all out so we can essentially have an open hiking trail here again. And it's going to take a good bit of work and a good bit of time to get this cleared out to be safe for us to open it again.
Back at the shop, the crew does paperwork and washes their gear.
There's actually a lot of paperwork required with all this stuff, and then also just keeping their gear clean. You can kind of see from my shirt, I'm filthy from one jump today, and if this is how I look, our gear is even worse.
So soapy water helps break it and lift the dirt. Using a toothbrush too to get in there, and then using an air compressor to spray any of the soap and dirt that's in there. And then we have a lubricant too when it's dry to get in there, and it prevents rust and corrosion.
After the rope access team has made some progress, it's time to start clearing the rocks from the walking paths below. This is where the gorge crew comes in.
We take care of about 7 trails in total within the gorge itself, and then 2 up top on the top side. Now we are in the process of cleaning the trail and rebuilding it. We've already come down, cleared the loose debris off the trail, and then started staging to get ready for the bigger jobs ahead.
One of those jobs includes a specialized stabilization technique to ensure the slope side is secure.
Now, I don't know how, or maybe some of y'all, maybe me getting this video out to some of y'all know how these guys can get funding, some kind of way to get them some funding so they can have maybe little Bobcat or something like that they can drive over there, kind of help assist them with all those rocks, pushing them down those hills or something. Just more so some type of machines to help them do this stuff, because they're saving lives is what they're doing by doing this job.
So down here to fix these trails, we use gaping baskets. It's a 6 foot by 3 foot cube that is made of wire meshing. And what you do is you dig them down, place them within the trail or wherever you need them, and then you add rock to the inside so that the rock weighs it down. A job like this can take a week or 2, But if we have a good day where we're really rocking and getting stuff done, it can be maybe a 3 to 4 day job.
At this mound right here, if all hands are on deck, I'd like to see, hopefully by the end of the summer, we get a majority of it taken out, and then we have put in some stabilization techniques to help build the trail back up. So I could definitely see us working into the fall, and if I had to make a guess, it'll probably be open next summer.
I think if you're going to do this kind of work, at the core, you have to enjoy working outdoors. You get to see special things that people don't see, plants and animals, like the landscape. The work that you do, it's really hard, but then you're helping keep the park safe. You make a meaningful difference. If you're just a park user, you might not even realize we were ever there. And that's kind of the point.